I think these brothers also need to realize that the future of this ummah is in these children. You know, we're waiting for, a child to come and help us out. Don't kill them. Execute the dream. Don't kill these kids. Don't put them down. We need kids out there who will love this deen, who love this religion, who love the Quran, who are proud of, and they come out there and they say we're Muslims, and we need that.
This is the Deen
Tarbiyah regarding children, and it's something where after this program, it was specifically having to do with teachers sending verbal messages to kids that didn't empower them, but it kind of demoralized them, their confidence, their self-esteem. And then it opened up a conversation with people also coming out and talking about how they left Islam at one point because they remembered a particular teacher hitting them or using some language with them. And then alhamdulillah, they came back. And then even some imams that I spoke to, they also were talking about how this is kind of like a secret, an open secret, that this is something that needs to be talked about. It's something that people have inherited from their country. They're doing these same methods. And I've even heard someone mention a certain person was telling me one justification. I'll see what one is. It's really crazy that when the Prophet ﷺ, he got the revelation that came to him, he was squeezed. I don't know if you ever heard this one. So people who do this type of method, they'll say, well, the Prophet ﷺ, we're teaching Quran, so the Prophet ﷺ, before he got Quran, he was squeezed very tight, inflicted with some pain, so we have to inflict. That was one. Some people also talk about the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, guide your children to pray at 7 and then discipline them by the time they're 8. Oh no, 10. I'm sorry. So they'll use some of these hadith. So I wanted to continue on from there. Some of yours on what I've just said, and what do you have to say about?
First of all, it was amazing because I'm presenting right now the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's available online as well. It's called Know Your Messenger, and I happen to be just presenting that scene of the squeezing and the wisdom behind it. We got this guy, the crazy guy, Salman Rushdie, I think he came up with that thing called satanic verses. Mm-hmm. He's basically saying that these are thoughts, personal thoughts. So the squeezing here is to show you that you have two entities, mm-hmm. two individuals interacting with one another, Jibreel alayhi salam and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So it's not internal, thoughts, just to expel that. We'll come to the subject of command them to pray at the age of 7, and then at the age of 10 go ahead and punish them if they do not do. We'll come to this for a minute. But let me begin by the issue that...
Can you use, instead of punish, discipline, same thing?
Yeah, discipline. Yeah, discipline. The issue that we have, Eddie, with this subject it has nothing to do with that. Actually, these are weak evidence that are taken completely out of context to justify something that is wrong, something that is to be corrected. It has to be corrected because this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong.
What's wrong?
Demoralizing, calling a student names, and I have to admit, I used to be a teacher at one stage of my life. I used to do this, and I realized that this is wrong. You see, the problem with a lot of these teachers...
Give some examples of names you've heard. Yeah.
The problem with these teachers, they came from overseas, and all their asset is the memorization of the Quran, but they have not gone through any curriculum, psychology of a child, a curriculum of how to teach, the manners and the etiquettes of teaching. And they even do not use the proper evidence to teach them. If you're gonna say that you're completely a religious guy, you don't want to go into that conventional kind of education, to become a teacher in America, you have to go through, you have to have a teaching degree, right?
Yeah.
You see, they don't only teach you what to teach, they teach you the psychology, the interaction with the child.
Pedagogy, yeah.
We don't go through this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now he goes after one or two evidence and taking them out of context to justify what he's doing wrong, or to justify what I'm doing wrong. Maybe, meanwhile, you have tons of evidence that teaches you that you need to be soft, you need to be kind to the children. The Prophet ﷺ, Anas spent 10 years with him. He didn't do that with him. One time he told him to do something, he did not do it. He looked at him and he smiled and he left. You understand? For you have multiple evidence, a lot of them, that show you that you have to be soft, you have to be kind. I think the point here is we are trying to teach American children, and I'm sorry I'm making this exclusive to Americans, but let's say European children in Europe or in America, using techniques that we were brought up with back in the Middle East, in a different time, in a different place. So we live in a different time, in a different place, different environment, and we want to use techniques and that were implemented in a different time, in a different place. That's exactly what the problem is. And all what we're after is bringing out some weak, taken out of context evidence in order to justify this. This is wrong. Eddie, you need to understand this. The teacher can be a great impact on a child because he contributes to the upbringing of the child, like the parents. But at the same time, he can be a devastating impact on the child. And you mentioned, I know of certain people who left Islam because of their teachers, because of something that they saw in their teachers. And I know some people who love Islam because of their teachers. So we need to reconsider, and I call upon the brothers and the sisters who came from overseas. Don't submit to that reality because it's wrong. It's wrong. Please, for the sake of Allah, we love you. We love you and we appreciate you because you memorize the Quran and you're helping the Ummah revive this tradition. But you need to understand that there is a lot that you do not know about tarbiyah. There is a lot that you do not know about teachings. And you need to consider, maybe, if you're not willing to take a class, is to listen to the advice. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us, when we teach people, when we try to convey the message, convey it with kindness, softness. You should not put down the person. You should not do that. You should actually encourage them to do that. Yes, punishment, or you'd rather use the word discipline. I'm okay with that too. Discipline in Islam is an element. There is no question about. Allah created Jannah and Nar, heaven and hell.
Hellfire, yes.
But once it comes, you see, this is an everlasting, eternal, punishment or eternal reward. This is after you conclude your mission. But we're talking about children who are going through the age of tarbiyah. You know what tarbiyah is? That you try to modify, change their pattern of behavior. Now, what works? If calling them names, bullying them as a teacher, bullying them, I'm sorry, the word is, will put them down, demoralize them, make them resented. Will you do it?
No.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't do it. You should do what helps them to change, to be better people. And I tell you, with American kids, the lollipop, the Jannah approach works a lot. Yeah, and that's, I think these brothers also need to realize that the future of this ummah is in these children. We're waiting for, a child to come and help us out, don't kill them. Execute the dream. Don't kill these kids. Don't put them down. We need kids out there who will love this deen, who love this religion, who love the Quran, who are proud of, and they come out there and they say we're Muslims, and we need that. You know, we're having issues now, Eddie, with our children. They are leaving Islam. Some of them they shy away from even saying that they are Muslims. They change their names to Mo. And
so this is just another excuse, another door
yes,
that opens, that you're helping to open.
Make them love it.
Yeah.
You see, the Prophet ﷺ was the greatest teacher of them. Of course, no one can attain his, but at least we need to try. He made his companions love the cause. Love the cause.
Yeah.
You as a teacher, you make them love the Quran.
Yeah.
You make them love memorizing the Quran. You make them enjoy the experience. It will make a difference in their lives. But don't tell me that you're trying to. You see, it's known. It's known if somebody does something you want from them out of fear, the moment that fear is lifted, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe he doesn't want to be called a name. Maybe he doesn't want to be pushed around. All right? That's why he's going to go, let me memorize because I don't want to hear this teacher, man. I'm tired of this teacher. But the moment that he doesn't fear you anymore, it's over. He's not going to do it. But imagine doing it out of love. Man, I love the Quran. This teacher, you know, when I memorize, and even if I make a mistake, he explains it to me, and it makes a difference, Eddie. It's a whole different thing. Yeah.
You were gonna.
I want to say something.
You were going to go back.
I want to say something.
Yes.
And Allah is my witness. I used to do these wrong things, and I learned the hard way. And that is why I'm calling upon my brothers who are in this field, who have not, I'm telling you, reconsider. Reconsider. You know, we all learn.
Yeah.
You know, we're human. We make mistakes.
That's really praiseworthy when someone can admit to a mistake and come out and.
I didn't know. I didn't know better.
Yeah.
You know, when you do something out of not knowing, Allah al-udhr bil-jahl, even fil kufr, even once it comes to disbelieving in Allah, you're actually given an excuse because of not knowing.
Yeah. You were going to go back to the hadith about prayer. What were you going to say about that?
Prayer?
Yeah, about 7, guide them to prayer at 7 and then discipline them by 10.
Well,
were you going to comment on that?
Yeah, well, you said it. It's discipline.
Yeah.
It's basic.
What's the context? Because
you know what the context is?
Someone,
you know what the context is?
I heard someone.
You know what the context is?
Please tell me.
That he knows that you have that side, but you don't exercise it. You know that you have that authority. You know that you can punish. It's like ideally they say, he sees the stick hanging on the wall, but you never bring it down.
Is that authentic hadith about the stick on the wall?
Well, yeah, there is Hassan. Yeah. But shahid is you don't bring it down, but he knows.
Yeah.
And that takes teachings. You know, that listen, don't mess around with me.
Yeah.
But you could convey this still, that harshness, that toughness in your character. You could convey it in a way that is decent. Without humiliating, demoralizing the person. But at the same time, if he's doing his job, if he's struggling, if he's striving, you need to understand also the state of mind of your student. If he's trying, if he's not doing it, then you can show a little bit of harshness. And that's what is meant by it.
When you look at, I'm taking a class on Islamic Online University in Pedagogy, education and kids and whatnot, education in general. And when you dwell into this, it is profound. How many different psychologists, avenues there are, and studies and human behaviors. But someone says, look, all I need is Quran and Sunnah.
Even Quran and Sunnah doesn't back this up. That's the point I'm trying to make. Even if you're going to dwell on Quran and Sunnah, I can sit out here and quote to you how Rasulullah ﷺ treated. Imagine this. Rasulullah ﷺ is sitting in the middle of his company. I'll give you just one pattern, one example. I'm sorry. One example. with his companions. حديث في مسند الإمام أحمد, حديث أبي أمامة الباهلي رضي الله عنه. A young man approaches the Prophet, the teacher. Guess what he's asking? I want to commit adultery, and you're going to give me a permission. Right here. That's a moment that you can seize to beat this guy up to death. And that's actually some of the companions attempted to do that. ما أنت قائل. But that can be a teaching moment.
Yeah.
Oh, leave him alone. Udnu.
Or when the guy urinated in the masjid.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah.
But you know that's but you know udnu. But this is a one that udnu. Come closer. Look at this. Teaching moments here.
Teaching moments.
أترضى هذا لأمك? Would you like someone to do this to your mother? لا يا رسول الله. No, O Messenger. ولا الناس. People wouldn't like this too. أترضى. Actually, Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم kept repeating. أترضى هذا لابنتك? If you have a daughter. أترضى. If you have a sister. If you have an aunt. If you have maternal aunt. He kept actually, there is no point of repeating this. But he's teaching him.
Yeah.
Again, would you imagine someone coming to you and doing this?
Yeah. So our deen doesn't close the door to get that that knowledge. Where can we use the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ had said that knowledge is a lost treasure of the believer, wherever he can grab it. So in these areas now, the teacher is being taught how to teach. That's an art in of itself. I teach. I mean, been teaching martial arts for over almost 20 years now, and I can understand. We also have children there. If we would use any of these methods, we'd be out of business. You follow me? And there's art in teaching. It's an art, you know what I mean? Especially with children. The adults are different. But now there's nothing where you're putting yourself back. You're actually moving forward. When you take a class, specific class, 3 weeks, month, 2 months,
no,
you're only going to grow.
So, listen.
And shouldn't we be people, if we're people of Quran and Sunnah, shouldn't we be ready for change at any time?
Absolutely.
To adjust our behavior to the right
thing?
To the right thing. Always, whatever we're right, we're ready to modify, to change according to Quran and Sunnah. So if we've been doing something for 20 years, 30 years, it's not right.
I have to tell you
the truth comes to us.
I have to tell you this. The Western world excelled in this. They created, rule book.
Yeah.
For a teacher, you can do not do. And if you actually trace these are Islamic. For each one of those, I can give you evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah or incident that happened. So why not? Why not adopt it? Why not? Shaitan one time told Abu Hurairah something. Imagine Shaitan told Abu Hurairah something about the story about Ayatul Kursi before you go to sleep.
Yes.
Some of the people may not be aware of it. But Abu Hurairah went to the Prophet ﷺ and he said this to me. He said he spoke the truth. This one is good. Take it from him. Take it from him. Because it's the truth. صَدَقَكَ وَهُوَ كَذُوبٌ. Even though he's not telling the truth in other areas. But this one, because of the truth, take the truth. Take the truth even from, you understand?
Yeah.
I think my point is clear.
Yeah, so if the truth is there, we're people of Quran and Sunnah, we take it and we grow from it, we learn from it, we become better teachers. We become, and the last thing is, because people, according to their position, they're held at certain levels.
Right.
So a policeman has a responsibility, teacher in math has a certain responsibility. Now, teacher of Quran, this is our teacher of Islam. That's a whole. We look at doctors they take the Hippocratic oath, do no harm. The doctor, but now the Quran teacher, the Islamic teacher, this is at a whole nother level.
You have a golden opportunity.
Yeah.
To impact this boy's life, this girl's life.
Yeah.
I tell you, golden opportunity to have a place in their lives. You can be a king without a crown in their lives. They can respect you, love you. Even when your name is mentioned after your death, they will invoke the mercy of Allah upon you.
Yeah.
And you can be a disgrace too.
If you're means for them to leave the deen,
you can be
a
disgrace.
Yeah. May Allah protect us from that.
Yeah. Choose the right thing. Yes.
Thank you,
Jazakallah
Sheikh.
khair.
Thank you, Sheikh. We covered a lot. Jazakallah
Yes,
khairan.
Jazakallah khair.
Inshallah, we'll see you
It's always
back
a
again.
pleasure, come Chicago and visit with you, Eddie. But you're getting old, man.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm dying it. So we should do something about it.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you, Sheikhs.
Jazakallah
All right.
khair.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we're here every week here on The Deen Show with a new and exciting episode. We'll see you next time. Until then, peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum.